Hey,
Hello.
how you tonight?
I am wonderful. How are you, Mayor?
I am doing great. It's great time of year. June just started, summer just started. You got large summer plans yet?
Oh yeah, this year is flying by, Mayor. Taking a couple of trips this summer. Great plans, but the year's just flying by, isn't it?
It is. We just had a brand new granddaughter last week, so she's 9 days old today. So we are very excited about that. Hope to get to see her this weekend. So this is our second, and good,
Oh,
good times. Really is exciting time of year and exciting period of time right now. So everything's going really
absolutely.
good, and I hope everything's going good for you too and your family.
Yes, everything is going great here in Roseville for the Miller family. Like I said, we'll be vacationing a little bit and enjoying some of this summertime, but the year I think is just flying extremely too fast. And congratulations on the grandbaby.
Thank you. And it's a lot of things going on in Rolesville. The spring was pretty active. A lot of things the last 3 or 4 months, right?
Yes, yes, we had the annual dinner. That was a lot of fun. It
It
was a
was.
great turnout. I think we sold out.
Hmm.
That many people came. Lots of awesome small businesses showed up and supported. The town was there. It was an incredible event. The food was incredible.
It was. Exactly. It was.
Yeah. So
Good,
that
nice
was a lot of
theme too. I
fun.
like the theme. I mean, I think this is the second year we've had a theme, so it really makes it a little bit more fun in a way.
Absolutely. And what the town could look forward to next year is another theme.
Mhm.
It's going to be another themed dinner. And
Great.
I'm thinking we're going to be doing the Wild West.
That's cool. That'd
Yeah.
be cool. That'd
Yeah.
be fun. That'd be fun. And appreciate you co-hosting the show tonight. I think this is your first time,
Mhm.
and excited to have you on. It's always exciting and fun to have these things. We get to meet a lot. I get to meet a lot of new people in doing this, and it's a great thing to do, and I really enjoy it a lot. And just a little preview for everybody. You are coming back on the show later this year as a guest and representing veterans on in November, and it's really excited about having you back on the show then.
Oh, absolutely. I am so appreciative of the invite. That's something near and dear to my heart. I'm a veteran, as you know. I served in the U.S. Army for 5 years alongside my husband, who's also a veteran, a disabled veteran. So that's a very important cause. And we really appreciate all the support that we get from the town of Roseville, the veterans. We just had an event that you attended
Right, right.
where we showed appreciation for the veterans in the community. It was a great turnout. We had nice representation from Department of Veteran Affairs. We had Purple Heart representatives there. We had representatives from the
Right.
lodges that are right down the road, some
Mhm.
Rotary representation. So it was just a really great turnout, a great event. So we really appreciate your support, and I look forward to speaking again in November.
Yeah, the Rolesville. We got Dan Austin. He's a commissioner, and
Yeah.
he works as a liaison. I appointed him liaison for veterans, and he has really embraced it. Frank, our former Eagle, I mean, a former mayor,
Mhm.
Frank Eagles,
Mhm.
he was a veteran, and he's always wanted to do things for veterans too, and sort of got it
Mhm.
started. And the town has always embraced the veterans for sure.
Yeah, well, it's very much so appreciative. All the events you all do. I know we do a parade
Mhm.
for Memorial Day as well. We do something in November. Not only will I be talking on the show, but I know there's also a formal event that we do in the town. And yeah, you're right. There's lots of representation, even the commissioner's spouses. I think Rob and her son is even either active duty or reservist. So there's a lot of military family here in Roseville.
Yeah, I think he is actually active. I think he is serving now. I believe. Um, if unless he got out really recently, I think he is active. But we got some exciting guests on tonight, and I am excited about the lineup. We got two people I've been knowing Stephen for a long time, and
Mhm.
just got to know Destiny in the last 2 or 3 years since she's been in high school. That's a incredible young lady there.
She is. I think everyone who watches the show tonight will be excited and proud of the representation that we have tonight. Yeah, he's a staple here in the town of Roseville, isn't he?
He
He's
is.
been around for a long time. I've known Steve at least a decade as well, and very excited to get to know Destiny. I know she's done a lot here with the youth, and she's in a youth leadership, so she'll get to talk some about that experience.
Uh huh. Yeah, I'm excited to have them both, and I think Destiny is on first.
Yes, I think Destiny is on first. She's excited and she's ready to share some of her experiences through youth leadership and some of their fun projects and some friends that she's made while being in the program. So I think she's going to be joining us soon. She's also going to be graduating in 2 days from Roseville High School.
Can you
Go
believe?
Rams!
Yeah, I know she's excited. I'm gonna have to talk to her about that a little bit. So, yeah, I'm excited about having her on, and where is she? Bring her on out here, because I
She's
Can you
think.
guys hear me?
bringing.
All right, well, good. So how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I am doing good. I am doing great. Yeah, I think Natasha broke the news about the big day Saturday. I know you're excited about that. But before we get into that a little bit, just tell us a little bit about who you are. And I know you live here in town. I think you live in the village of Rolesville, which is a staple community here, and lived here for how long now?
So I've lived in Rolesville for about 5 years, I would say, about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely enjoyed living in Roseville. But as everybody said, my name is Destiny Carlos. I'm a senior at Roseville High School. I graduated on Saturday. I was a part of the Youth Leadership Roseville program, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And then I was also on the Roseville basketball team. I played varsity all 4 years. And then I also work at Chick-fil-A.
Great. You just stay busy, right? Are you excited about the summer? We was talking a little bit earlier before you came on about the summer. Are you excited about the summer? You have a lot of. I mean, to be a new graduate, I'm sure you got exciting summer playing, right?
Yes. So a lot of it's filled with basketball. Since I'm going to be playing basketball at the next level, so a lot of it's filled with lots of practice and working out. But also, I'm trying to enjoy the rest of my time with my family. We got a cruise. We're going on a road trip. So kind of just having a really fun and eventful summer, I would say.
Good. So, so do you have a story about how you and your family came to Rolesville? Is there a story behind that, or how did you end up here? Do you know?
So I was born in Mississippi. I grew up in Virginia. We moved back to Raleigh to be closer to our family. Both my mom's side of the family and dad's side of the family are both like from Raleigh. So we moved to Raleigh. Why we moved to Roseville, I'm not quite sure. I know it's like a smaller town, but I think we were just kind of looking at different homes, and Roseville happened to kind of catch our family's eye. So we ended up moving to Rolesville, and ever since we've definitely loved it here.
Yeah. So had you ever heard of Rose before you moved here? Where you just didn't know where you was going, probably, right?
I didn't. I was like, Roseville. I honestly didn't even know how to spell it. I didn't know there was an L, That was just Roseville. Yeah, I spelled it wrong like pretty much everybody else does.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, if you pronounce it, it can be spelled different ways. So
Right.
So you're exactly right. It doesn't spell the way you would think it would be spelled. But yeah, that's exciting. And what about your experience at Rolesville High School? That's a pretty new school. I think it opened in 2013. So what is that, 10 years maybe? Maybe this was the 9th graduating class or something like that. I'm not exactly sure the numbers, but that's pretty close.
Yes, sir.
So how do you rate your experience at Rolesville High School?
I would say 100 out of 10, and that's not overhyping it or anything like that. I definitely, I went to Rolesville all 4 years. I loved every last bit of it. I made some of my closest friends there. Basketball season was phenomenal there. The athletics at Rolesville just top majority of everybody else's. But just like the community sense of Rolesville is just, it makes you feel like it's a home. So this past year, I had the honor of being the National Honor Society president. And one of the opportunities that I got to do was get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and welcome about 300 to 500 freshmen into the school. But every single last one of that, I told them, hey, Rolesville's the Disney World of high schools. Like it doesn't get much better than Rolesville.
Yeah, I didn't realize the National Honor thing. I don't think you told me that last time. You may have, and I may have forgotten. So you'll get all these gold, I guess, ribbons and
yes,
all.
Sir.
What are they cords? They call them cords.
The cords and stoles, yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I was a National Honor Society person, which back then the bar was pretty low. I know it's pretty hard today. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of hard work to do that. And
Definitely.
it says something to be a student athlete and also excel in academics both. And you were able to do both. And that's pretty exciting. And I guess one of the things you will always remember, the good things and the bad things, but one thing you always remember about your high school experience that a lot of folks I didn't deal with and people up to this era has never dealt with is this COVID thing and the shutdown and not being able to attend school and be part of your, really, I would think the student body is a community in itself.
Definitely.
And that experience, kind of describe that. Was you really excited about getting back with the kids when COVID was over with?
So when COVID first started, I got my freshman year cut half short. Originally, I kind of saw it as like, hey, I mean, we're getting out of school early, but I mean, we'll be back next year.
Who can complain about that?
Right. And so then my sophomore year, they were like, hey, we're just going to stay online. And I was like, okay. I mean, online school, everybody kind of saw it that way. Many people like slept through their classes or were doing elsewhere. So online class, I mean, it was nice because I was at home. And then also the teachers kind of made it so that you wouldn't have to like memorize a lot of stuff. But it did kind of affect me in the future because I didn't have to memorize. I didn't remember stuff as well as if I would have had been forced to memorize it. But coming back to school was really good. We started out back with masks, which was a little bit challenging because you couldn't really see people's faces.
Right.
But I mean, it was still like better than just being at home on our computer with like no other like social interactions or anything like that.
Right. But and you got to be able to get back with your sports. Now I understand, not only COVID affected some of your sports, but also, you had a couple injuries, I think, right?
Yes, sir. So my sophomore year, I tore my PCL 5 games into the season. So I was out for maybe like 2 to 3 months. And then I started back travel basketball. I was doing great, playing some of the best basketball of my life. And I just kept feeling a pain in my leg, and it just wasn't like making sense. So we finally went to go get it checked out, and they were like, yeah, you fractured a bone. And I was like, no, that can't be. I've been playing this whole time.
Right.
So yeah, there was a hairline fracture on my tibia, which is a shin bone. So I had to wear a boot and was out for the rest of that summer and half of my fall season because I had to have surgery, go through physical therapy. So that definitely put a pause on my athletics for a little while.
But you made it up.
I
On
did.
Your senior year, you came back strong and made it up, right? A lot of accomplishments that last year, right?
Yes, sir. So my senior year, I just told myself like this is my last year, I really want to go out with a bang. And I mean last year, we did turn it around. We went from a 4-10 record to 19-11. So we had turned it
You
around.
made the difference, right? You made
Yes,
the
sir.
difference. You made the difference.
Yes, sir. Like so last year, we made the first round playoffs and lost. This year we beat like a whole bunch of like our whole team, everybody. It was just completely different. So we went 25-5 on the season this year, which is a record for Rolesville women's basketball. And then we won our school's first women's basketball conference championship. We beat Millbrook. So that was a really big win for us. And then we made it to the Elite Eight. I think that's round 4 of the state playoffs. We lost to the number 1 team by 2 points.
That's great. Good team accomplishments there. But you had a personal accomplishment, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I had a couple, I would say. So this season, I actually was named first team all conference. So that was definitely really big. And then I was named the student athlete of the week by 3 different organizations.
That's great.
Thank you.
And for people that really probably not familiar with high school sports and things like that, to be first team all conference is a very difficult thing.
Definitely.
It is. It's one. I guess it's one position out of all the conferences of all the schools in the conference of the Northern Conference, which is a pretty competitive conference. And what is your position?
I play shooting. I love to shoot threes. I was second. I was first on the team with made threes, second in the conference with made threes, and then top 20 in the state, in the 4A for made threes.
It takes a lot of practice, right?
Lots.
So you achieved, in academics, you did very well in athletics, and in all that time, you had time to do some other things. And one of the other things I want to talk to you about is the Rolesville Leadership Program.
Right.
And you spent a couple years working with that group?
Yes, sir. So I was one of the lucky groups. It's usually only 1 year, but because of COVID, we weren't really able to do much other than meet online. So she gave us an extra year. So anybody that was already in the program got an extra year. We had a couple of new people, and then we also were able to go back with the other group for one meeting this past year.
And I think, I've worked with it's showing some pictures there, which is great. I've been kind of involved with the leadership program, and the Rolesville Leadership Program is sponsored by the chamber, and they do a really good. Rachel Morris used to kind of do that. One of her things that she worked really hard, and I think you was under Rachel for quite a while there. And the chamber does a really good job. It's a really good program, and like I said, I've been involved in it for quite a bit there. And you learn a lot doing that program. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So actually, I was able to find like my old binder. This is from the 21-22 year. And so it just has like, it has a couple of different activities that we did. So we did like different get to know you activities. We did kind of dig deeper activities. We did a lot of breaking you out of your shell. And that was one of Miss Rachel's big goals, was to get people out of their shell. So there were some people that like would never talk, and by the end, they would the loudest one in the group.
Right. I mean, sometimes you got to do things, and you got to be involved with things to learn and to feel comfortable in doing it. And speaking in front of people is one of the things. If you don't never do it, you won't never get comfortable doing it.
Absolutely.
And you do a very good job, and I think that's one of the things that, Rachel, working with the leadership program over the years, it really gets the students prepared for the future, and really in all different ways, from understanding of, like you said, speaking and engaging and networking and marketing. And I don't know what all you guys do, but it's a lot, right?
Yes, sir. So Our meetings typically are they're during the school day. They're usually from about 8:30 to like 1. And then a typical meeting, we arrive. We go to Arise. But I do want to mention real quick. Youth Leadership Rolesville. It's built up of students from Rolesville High School and then also a couple of neighboring high schools. So
Right.
we had students from Thales, Rolesville. We had, I think this past year we might have had a couple from Heritage also. There was someone that came from another school that was a little bit farther out. But we meet and each meeting has like a different focus. So sometimes it's like leadership skills. Sometimes it's networking. We did a social media one. We did a community service one. It's just a bunch of different ones. And then we complete whatever activities go along with that. And then we go out to lunch together. My group, our favorite place to go to was Los Tres. That was
Right.
That's in Rolesville.
I was there today. So.
Yeah, we'd go every single meeting. Like Miss Rachel got tired of there. Miss Rachel had to tell us no at one point that we can't go anymore.
Right.
But we loved Los Tres. And then we'd come back together on the bus. The bus rides were always fun. I remember one time we were like singing Christmas songs. It was like
It's cool.
August and we were singing Christmas songs. So
yeah, it's a good little group that really support each other in many ways. Like you say, it creates a little family, but it's not a large group. I don't think, if I recall,
it's about 15 to 18
interview to get in there, right? You have to do an interview, and it's probably 16 to 20 people or something like that.
Yes, sir. So the interesting thing about the interviews, I'm not sure how they did it last year, but for my year, for people to get in the following year, we actually led the interviews. They were student led. So we got to kind of talk to the potential candidates. We kind of, got to know them a little bit, gave them some tips on, just interviewing in general, whether they get in or not, things like of that nature. So that was definitely a really good experience.
And you, before we leave your high school experience, you said you enjoyed it all. Would you do anything different? Would you say anything if you had to redo high school again? Anything that you would do different, or anything that you would be interested in changing?
Definitely my time management. I would say that it did get really challenging with basketball and the clubs that I'm involved in. So I would say I would find different ways to just manage my time a little bit more, so I could pour a little bit more into some of my classes. I did pour a lot. I just feel like there were some times I could have poured just a little bit more. So that's what I would definitely change.
Right. Now, since you've been through it and you experienced it, and you're graduating Saturday, and you'll get that behind you. So the people that's coming in, the freshmen and stuff that's coming in, what is your advice to them when they get to Rolesville High School?
I would tell them first. I would tell them that Rolesville is not what the media makes it out to be. The media makes Rolesville seem like such a bad school just because they had a fight or they had a code red. But I mean, those are just little glimpses of what might happen. But what actually happened, if you actually go there, you'll see family, you'll see constant smiling, you'll see people giving hugs and high fives. Like Rolesville is definitely a place that you would send your child to school. The teachers there are phenomenal. The administrators there, coaches, everything about Rolesville is just phenomenal. So I would tell them to keep a positive mindset going into Rolesville. And then also just persevere. Like, you're going to face challenges, you're going to face adversity, but don't let it get the best of you. Like, just keep pushing. That's
good. It also has a very good football team, right? And,
yes, sir.
Enjoy football and a women's basketball league, basketball team, and that won this conference championship. And I think they do very good at some of the track meets and stuff like that.
Yeah, our track team, most of our track team is going to nationals. Our wrestling team won the conference championship and had many placed at states. And which other team? I think we had one or two other teams that accomplished a lot.
Yeah, I think it does. Here comes Natasha back. Before we leave, real quick question. from a youth standpoint, how do you think how do you feel about living in Rolesville? Do you think Rolesville supports the youth? And what can we do as a town? What can I do as a mayor? What can the community do to better support the youth population?
So I would say I love the like the events that Rolesville does throw, like watching fireworks together for 4th of July.
That's coming up.
Oh yeah. Or even like the I can't remember what event it is, but there's like a whole bunch of blow ups and stuff like that.
Right.
So I would just say just more of those. I feel like those are definitely really positive events that happen in Rolesville, and I feel like people really enjoy going to them, especially because they get to see. I definitely learned that I had some friends that lived in Rolesville that I didn't even know lived in Rolesville by going to those events. So I feel like those.
Yeah, and as we grow, it's going to be more. Right now, all the events is like you pretty much said is town sponsored, unless it's either town or chamber. Chamber has events too, so one or two. But as we grow and get more businesses, Cobblestone is going to have events, after hour events and Thursday night events and things like that. Walbrook is coming in; they got event space, so we're going to have more and more of these private, things having events too. So it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. So I really appreciate having you on. And Natasha, any questions you have? Anything that was asked?
Well, Mayor, you covered a lot of the questions I had for her. I'm very excited and so proud of we have such an outstanding representative of our youth and destiny. So thank you so much for your time and for chatting with us. My only question is, what does life look like for Destiny during the next year? Because you're about to enter into your next chapter, right? What does that look like for you?
So I'm going to be attending Francis Marion University. It's a 4-year university in Florence, South Carolina. So I'm blessed I have the opportunity to play basketball there. And then I will be studying business management with a sport management concentration.
Incredible. Well, the world will welcome your knowledge, and I know there will be great things to come from Destiny. So your parents did an incredible job, and we are lucky to have you in our community. So thank you so much, Destiny.
Thank you guys so much.
And if your team takes a road trip and come up here and play one of the local schools up here in the community, let us know. We'll put it out on Facebook and stuff and invite the community out to come. So I don't know if you would play somebody like Peace or Meredith or somebody like that, but maybe so. If you're in the community, let us know.
Definitely, I definitely will. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Destiny.
What a great interview there, Natasha. I really, she just brings so much energy. I can't imagine being that age again. Can you?
No, I cannot. But man, what an incredible representation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got 2 new granddaughters. I was telling you about one is 7 days old and the other one's 18 months old. And, sometimes as grandparents, you worry about the future. You worry about what is things going to be like, when they teenagers in high school and stuff. But, when you see people like Destiny and stuff, it really eases your mind about what the future is. It's only going to be a bright future with, youth the way we see them.
Yeah, you're so right. It does. It makes it a little bit easier to see the future when you have that type of representation for sure.
That's right. And I would think that Rolesville High School is full of those kids. Like
Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure.
And she's not the exception, because I think it's a lot of them. And she was just a great ambassador for the school. And really, really appreciate having her on. I really do.
Absolutely. I'm happy she touched on the youth leadership program because, as y'all both mentioned, it's not simple to get in. And, you have to work to get in. We get a lot of applications. So just to be chosen is an honor, and it says a lot about your character. So I'm so happy she was able to share so much with us.
And our next guest is not a teenager, I don't think.
No, he's not. No, so our next guest is Steve Dykehouse. He's been a mortgage broker for over 26 years. I've known him for probably 10 years. And Mayor, I know you've known him for a
A
very
long
long
time.
time as
Very long.
well.
I think you said before he's an icon in many ways.
Oh gosh, yeah, he's definitely a Roseville. He's a Roseviller, as we call him. He works for American Liberty Mortgage, and he's here to talk to us mostly about the Roseville Rotary Club. So Steve is on, so I'll let you two chat.
Yeah, well, thank you, and appreciate you coming on the show, Stevie
Thank
D.
you.
I
And it's
think
going to
you
be a
like
hard one to follow after the last act.
Yeah, I know, but you'll do fine. Don't try to be a teenager, and we'll be fine. I
That
can't
won't
do
work.
it. I can't do it no more. I'm probably about 30 years too old to be a teenager now. But don't do the math. The thing I wanted to talk to you about is she introduced you as being a mortgage broker and those type things, but you really are involved with the community. You're really involved in doing things with the community, and that's one of the things that kind of want to start off talking to you about is some of the things that you're doing with the community, and the Rotary Club is one of them. And but before we do that, I want to kind of let you talk about who you are. And you told me one time, I asked you about, how did you end up in Rolesville? And you said it was a mistake or something. Is that the word you used? What word?
I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was not what I expected. I had been doing some acting out for Shriners. I was also involved with the Shriners as a clown, and the circus was coming up, and we had a practice up in Youngsville. When we got done with that practice, the road was under construction, and they rerouted to a different route than I came in on, so I wasn't sure exactly where I was at, but it ended up was off of Purnell. And there was a kid flipping one of the signs saying open house. Well, I didn't have anything else better to do that day, so I drove down Purnell and past the seminary to this new subdivision, and they were building some really nice houses for a reasonable price. And they had different model sizes, and I have a very large dining room that we inherited from my grandfather. It's all handmade.
Right.
There's a server, a china cabinet, and a table, and you can't fit it into most houses. It just
They don't
doesn't
make a
look
lot of them that will hold that, do they?
It doesn't. And so they had a large size and they had the small size, and we knew the small size didn't work. But the middle size, they said they had a model in Rolesville. And I kind of looked up in the air and said, I've been through Rolesville one time. It had one signal light, and I drove for 15 miles behind a tractor trailer doing 10 miles an hour. I said, who in the world would ever want to live out there anyways? But we'll go see the house. I was living in North Raleigh, drove up 401, and it was all 3-lane highway, 2-lane highway, and then single lane coming into the subdivision. I went, how this has changed. We looked at the house. The middle one didn't work, but I looked at their floor plan and I said, oh, is this a retaining pond? I said, no, this is a lake. This lot just opened up yesterday. I said, I'll take the other big house on this property now.
So you got a lake in your yard.
That's how I ended up in Rolesville, was through it wasn't a mistake. It was through a comedy of errors of type that we needed to see another property.
You may call it, what I call it? I call it you were lucky.
I was lucky. I love it here.
You're lucky to be. You are lucky to be in Rolesville. You could be in Wake Forest somewhere. You are just.
I would have hated that. I would have hated where I was at because the traffic was so bad going up Capitol Boulevard. I am so blessed that we decided to stay here.
I would call it you got lucky.
Lucky. Yeah, I was lucky. I like I said, every day I look out my window and I said, this is where I want to be.
Now, I hear these organizations, these organizations that do things, and the Rotary Club is one that you hear a lot. They have signs, and a lot of towns have a sign where you come in, display the emblem of the clubs and stuff. We need to do that. Maybe you need
We
to
do need to
remind
do
me
that.
that
Absolutely.
if I stay mayor, we'll put a sign up that says the clubs that's in town. But the Rotary Club is a name that's been there for as long as I
Hundreds of
can ever
years,
remember.
over 100 years.
So, what is the Rotary Club? What do you do? And let me introduce you. You're the president of the Rolesville Rotary Club. Is that right?
Through June 31st, and it can't end any sooner. They said that the best day is when you become president, and then when you go and be past president.
Right.
So, yeah, that's your 2 best days of your Rotary career.
Right. So what is the organization involved in, and what some of the stuff for somebody that's kind of interested in learning more about it? What do you guys do?
Well, Rotary was, I'll say, developed over 100 years ago by 12 businessmen that would meet for lunch, and what they did is exchanged different venues. Each one would have their office would be the lunch area.
They
And
rotate.
then that person, whoever hosted, would give a presentation on their business. So the other people knew how to send referrals and to build their business up. So those 12 people were 12 power partners. Like, we do networking, and Natasha knows that we do all kinds of networking. And that's how we built our networks back 100 years ago. And it grew and it grew and expanded to different cities. Says, we want to do that. We want to do that. And now it's worldwide. One of their main emphasis when they started was polio. Polio was huge back then. And today there's only a handful of cases worldwide. The reason is we stepped in and supplied the money and the support to get the shots to where they needed to be and to eradicate polio. Well, our things we do today are a lot different than that. They're more smaller communities. Case in point, we do a lot in Guatemala, where we build libraries, build smaller schools in smaller communities, so they don't have to go so far to go to school. Ronnie and I talked about this, was microloans. $400, $600, $800 is given to them to start a business. And then we look back a year later and see where they're at. And 90% of the people have already repaid the loan. 90%. So we can reinvest that money right back into their communities.
It amazes me a little bit, Steve, how little money it takes to help somebody like that.
Yeah, $400. A lot of people go and blow that on a night out.
Right.
And this is going to be for their life. And this is, there's somebody they helped down in Guatemala I think it was an $800 loan to buy 2 cars that didn't run, but he fixed them up, made them taxis. Now he has 10 taxis.
Right.
Well, he doesn't drive all 10 taxis. He had to hire people. So it's enriching the community tenfold. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that we help out with. Locally, we do Flags for Heroes. If you ever see one of your neighbors, all of a sudden a flag pops up in their yard, well, you too can take part. It's $50 for the first year, $25 for the year after, and all the major holidays. We come out 2 days before the holiday and then pick it up 3 days after. So it's up and then right back down. We also did the 50 flags out in front of the storage unit on Main Street, over by the McDonald's, for 4th of July last year. And that got a lot of kudos and a lot of visible, that you can see it. You can't miss it when you're going down Main Street at 35 miles an hour and see all those flags out. And those are all through donations that we put those flags out.
I helped a little bit, Dan T. You know Dan T, I think.
He's part of the Rotary.
Yeah, I helped him for a few hours, put a few flags out. It was toward the end of the day. And that's a good project y'all do. And you're going to do the flags for 4th of July this year, the 50 flags?
We haven't decided yet, because that was a lot of work getting stuff into the ground.
Yeah.
Our ground's so hard.
Because it's rock, right? You got
granite. Yeah,
well,
it's
yeah,
hard. It's hard getting things in there. So
you need to use the same holes you did last year. It may make it a little bit easier. So
I think some gophers got in there. No,
may have. So so what are some other local? You talk about the one overseas and helping the third world countries and stuff. But what about local?
well, we support Rotarac, which is the teens at Rolesville High School.
Right.
They have their own organization of about 10 kids, and we oversee that as far as because it's Rotaract. It's part of Rotary. And they help us with their floats when we did the parade, and then we help them whenever they have a project that they're trying to raise some money for to do little things around the school. They do cleanup day where they'll actually go and clean up the trash around Rolesville High School. So they have their own little entity, but we kind of govern them. We kind of oversee them. But that's just like Destiny. That's huge because we have a leadership thing that we send 2 people to, and it's paid for, and it's in Winston-Salem, and they go for a weekend and come back with leadership skills, and that's what Rotary is all about, is leadership.
It's teaching. It sounds like a lot to do with teaching and teaching people trades and that type of thing for future.
And because as people highlight their company, it gives them opportunity to learn more about what. Oh, I know everything about that. Oh, no, I don't. All of a sudden you people like, well, I'm a mortgage broker, and people go, oh, I know all about mortgages. I closed on my house last week. And it's like, you don't know just a bit of what's going on.
What they seen on TV commercials.
What they see on TV commercials, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's right. Let me ask you this, Steve. You may have said, but I think you've been in the Rotary for quite a while now.
I joined North Raleigh Rotary of North Raleigh in 2008. I think it was 2008, and had 10 years perfect attendance. Then my office moved downtown, and I changed over to the City Club Rotary, or I can't remember what they actually designated. Then my office moved back to North Raleigh, so I moved back to Rotary of North Raleigh. Well, then I moved out here, and there wasn't a chapter. I didn't want to join Wake Forest. I stopped going to my Rotary Club off of Millbrook. And then all of a sudden they said, hey, we have Rotary starting. Would you like to be part of it? Oh, absolutely. This is fantastic. I'd love to be part of Rotary again.
So you was one of the founders then?
Yeah, one of the charter members.
Charter member. That's what they call it. Yeah,
charter member.
Well, that's great. So so before we leave the Rotary, what would you tell someone that may be interested in looking at the organization? What would you tell them? What's the benefit?
Our standard slogan is service above self. So you're giving back to the community above yourself, and it's like you always try to help somebody else, because as you help somebody else, you're actually helping yourself too. So we're needing members. As a charter club, we need to get to 20 to become a full-fledged club, and we're still part of Wake Forest Club, and that was our goal 3 years ago when we started, was to become a club. Well, then COVID hit, and then people didn't like being on Zoom. They just they wanted to be in person. They wanted to see each other. And we've kind of built back a little bit, but it's not like when it was first going. We were only 2 or 3 short from hitting our chapter goal. We meet on Thursdays at 4:00 in the Arise.
Maybe after this show, you'll have more people than you can imagine. So
we can take usually up to about 50.
We'll get the word out for you. It sounds like it's a great organization. I mean, it's so many good things, and I really like the idea of really getting people started in business in some of these places that probably really needs it. So, great work there. How would they get if someone wanted to do it next week? What would you say? Do they just find you online, or they show up somewhere? How do they?
At
How
the
do they get?
Arise co-working at 4 o'clock, and if nothing else, Michelle is also a member. Michelle Medley.
Yeah.
And so she could always get information on basically any time that you come in. She can get their name and number, and we can get up with them.
Well, I see Natasha's coming back, so we're kind of running out of time here, Stevie. But I wanted to mention to you before we break up, though. You said you're a financial broker. Is that kind of what I remember you saying?
A mortgage broker.
Mortgage broker. So you can find mortgages on TV all the time. I mean, you just call this 800 number and get you a mortgage.
Absolutely.
On your cell phone here. Why do they need to contact you when they can just use their cell phone to get a good mortgage?
Well, because as soon as something goes wrong, you can't reach out and touch the person on TV. When you trying to close, Natasha's smiling. When you're trying to close tomorrow on your house and you need that piece of paperwork, and they go, we got 10,000 other people that called in yesterday that we're trying to work on new loans, and we don't have time for your loan. That's why, I'm not a huge producer. I usually close 2 to 3 loans a month. So that means I know my client, I know their background and what they're looking for, and I help them after the closing. I help them if they have a 700 credit score. I help them say, here, this is how we get you to 720 and 740 because you're going to be looking to buy a car. This is how you improve your debt ratios. I look at budgets for a first-time home buyer. I make them do a budget, and they go, what is that? That's something you're required before you get a mortgage with me. How do we do that? I send them forms to do a budget. Natasha's eating this up because that's real world. The people on TV don't do that. And the rates you see on TV are with 3 and 4 points. You can do it in New York, but you can't do it in North Carolina. We can only charge 2 points. So that means whatever you're seeing is not even available.
It's enticing.
Natasha she knows. She knows. She's in the banking world. She knows how that works. You just can't.
So where do you get most of your clientele from? I mean, you don't
referrals,
do TV
referrals and repeat business.
So referrals and repeats.
The best kind.
That's right. So people that have done it, I guess, if you do it both ways, you probably know the right way. But people that has done it before, they usually come back, which is
yeah. And if they bought a house 5 years ago, but they're buying now a second home or an investment property, because we have programs out there that I won't tell Natasha that the banks don't have. We can do stated income, bank statements, some other programs that the banks don't have that allows them to purchase that home, and that's what it's there for. Yeah.
Let me we'll kind of close out on asking kind of a secret question here, and I won't tell nobody else. We'll kind of keep it among ourselves.
Just between the three of us.
Just between the three of us. Is interest rates going up? Should we buy now? Is interest rate going up, or is it going to come down? Do we need to wait a little while?
As I told somebody else about 3 years ago, my crystal ball broke. It's shattered. I used to be able to tell how those interest rates are going. But Barry Habib, one of the great gurus in the mortgage industry, has predicted that the mortgage rates will come down 1/4 to 1/2 point by the end of summer. They've already come down a point and a half since the highs of last summer, late fall. So as the interest rates keep getting raised by the feds, ours keeps dropping. People kept saying, I want to lock my loan the day before the Fed meeting. I said, no, you don't. You want to wait 2 days. But they're going to raise rates tomorrow. See, Stephen, they raised the rates. Now we missed out. I said, just hold on. Your rates are getting better. And people don't understand that because that's our world. That's not the TV telling everybody's things gotten more expensive. listen to them. You got to talk to your financial advisor and broker.
Yeah, and that surprised me a little bit, because you do think when the Feds raise the interest rates by a quarter, it's passed down, and that's not necessarily true. But you jump in there, Natasha. You're the expert on this, so you jump in there and make sure he's asked the right questions there.
Oh, absolutely. So I think what makes Steve different is you get Steve. You get Steve, and it's always a good time to buy. Always. That's an appreciating asset, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
So it's always, don't worry about interest rates. You will get a return. So buy that house.
You saying live in the present.
Absolutely. Right. Tomorrow's not promised to anyone. So, and get a relationship person, like someone who's in the community, like Steve. You don't just get a financial person or a mortgage broker when you get folks in Rolesville community. You get a friend, you get a family member, like Steve mentioned. Once you get him, you have him forever. He doesn't just leave after he's done with you. So that's the special thing about living in Rolesville, right? And being able to support our community. Mayor, you asked Steve pretty much all the questions I was going to ask. I didn't know if there's any going back to the Rotary thing. I didn't know if there was any qualifications you had to have in order to be a member.
18 years old.
Just 18.
Yep. And we now have retired people. I'll say 10 years ago when I joined, it was all small business owners type things. Now you've got retired, you've got teachers, you've got all kinds of different people in Rotary.
Wonderful.
So it's not like just straight for business. You're not joining Rotary to get business. It's more social.
Service above self, right?
Service above self.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit surprised. You don't have to give it to us, but I was a little bit surprised the membership fees are fairly low. I mean, it's not like you got to be a rich businessman to be in there or anything. Ours is
$45 a quarter for every 3 months, because we don't have any food. Mm-hmm. We don't have where most Rotary clubs meet in the morning, lunch, or dinner time. Ours is at 4:00 before dinner, so all we have is the regular dues,
right?
Which is really reasonable to join a social and civic organization.
That's not bad.
Yes,
absolutely. Tax write-off, right?
Ask your professional. I'm not a tax professional.
You don't want to give that advice, huh?
No.
But do appreciate you coming on. Natasha, did you have any more questions for Steve?
No, I think we've exhausted our questions. Thank you very much.
I do want to say one thing is my degree, since we were talking about education earlier, I've got a BS degree in mathematics and computer science. So when numbers and questions and concerns come out, I think inside my head that's a whole lot different than what the standard mortgage person does, because all they're getting is, here's your score, here's your down payment, here's your result. And I look at, well, how about if we change the interest rate? Your credit score? How about if we do this? How about if we don't put as much money down, but pay off your car, and now you got bigger debt ratio, less debt ratio, you can buy more house. Well, the other guy never told me that, because they're not thinking outside the box. Mm-hmm. That math I do it second nature, and it's fun to me.
Yep.
I've been doing it for 26 years for a reason, because it's fun.
Right. They're not connecting all the dots that you can with your experience, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The ability to think outside the box and find the gray areas. So thank you again, Steve, for sharing your expertise.
Thanks for coming on the show. Enjoyed having you, Steve.
Thank you.
Really did.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good job.
And
what two great guests, I think, Natasha. I really enjoyed our time spent with both of them, and it goes so fast. I mean, if you wasn't here to kind of keep the clock going, we'd be talking still. So it's really a couple really good guests, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And Mayor, you're easy to talk to. So, I think they had the pleasure of going with the flow and chatting with you. It kind of felt conversational, right? Which is
Right.
really nice, which makes the time go by. But absolutely great representation here in Roseville by Steve and Destiny. So great things going on in Roseville. Great people. Are there any town events that you want to mention? I wanted to mention a few Roseville chamber events.
I'll go first with the town. The one that really I think everybody's waiting for is the 4th of July event. As most people know that been to them, we have them on the 4th of July. So it's not the night before or the weekend before. It's actually 4th of July, which is a Tuesday, which is in the middle of the week. People may work Monday and Wednesday, but July 4th is middle of the week. So I think in some ways that's pretty good because, you get a break in your week and you can come out and enjoy a good show. And really, Rolesville puts on a great 4th of July show. If you've never been to one, I would suggest people to come because it's big time. And we will have food trucks there, probably about a dozen food trucks. So a lot of vendors. We have family activities, inflatables, and yard games, stuff like that. We also have a band. We've had for the last 2 years, we've had a really good band, and this one is called Liquid Pleasure. I have not really heard them. They have been around for a long time. They've been performing together for over 50 years, I understand. But I don't know if I have, if I have heard them before, but I'm very excited about having that group come. And I would suggest anybody that has not been to a Rolesville 4th of July, fireworks show and activities, it's well worth it. The cost is very, very low. In fact, it don't cost you anything. You can't get
Gonna say it's free.
You can't get much cheaper than free, really. And we chose years ago not to have a fee. Some towns have fees to go to the fireworks show. We chose not to. We used to do donations if you wanted to donate, but we don't even have a place to donate no more. I don't think so. We don't even require donations. So just come, bring your family, bring extended family. It'll be out on one of the ball fields. So if you're looking at the band, it's going to be plenty of places to sit. Bring you some chairs and just have a good time. So that's the biggest thing going on in the next month is this 4th of July show.
It's a big deal, Mayor. I think the viewers are going to see the band that's going to be performing during the event. I tell you what, it's one of my favorite times of the year. I feel like we have the best event around. We have people that come from Raleigh and Fuquay and Nightdale just to experience our 4th of July. So we definitely show our surrounding areas how to put on an incredible show. So I look forward to that. I can usually see the fireworks from my yard because I'm in the villages, but every year I look forward to it. So thank you for chatting about that. I know as far as the chamber, we have quite a few things coming up very, very soon. We have a ribbon cutting that's coming up soon, 5-Star Realty. That'll be June the 22nd at 5:30 at Greenway Beer and Wine. So if you're a business owner or a supporter of Donna, please make sure you come out. The town does a great job in representing Roseville. They're usually at those events, so we really appreciate the town support for that. We also have the Business Expo that's coming up as well. That is on the 29th of June. So if you have not registered, please register. I think we're filling up. We're taking booths there. You can go to the Roseville Chamber of Commerce website to register. And I think the event is going to be held at Rolesville Baptist Church from 11 to 3. It's usually a very popular event, so hopefully we'll have plenty of people to register and show up. I think those are mostly the upcoming events. Launch Rolesville. I did want to chat a little bit about Launch Rolesville. This is a dual effort with the town of Rolesville and the chamber, where we allow small business entrepreneurs to come together for, I think it's an 8 to 12 week class. They go through a lot of training. They get business plans. They have an opportunity to talk to investors. There's a huge graduation ceremony. There's a lot of legs of speakers that are brought in, from CPAs to bankers, to talk to these groups about giving a good foundation for launching their business. You do have to qualify and be accepted into the program. So definitely go to the website, launchrolesville.com, to apply. That's going to be starting soon as well. I think those are the biggest events that we wanted to chat about this afternoon, Mayor. Did I leave anything out? Is there anything else?
No, I think it's a lot of other events going on this summer. And we'll talk about them as the summer goes on. It's really a fantastic time, and I just hope everybody has a great summer. It doesn't seem like the heat is here yet, so we will get it. And just hope everybody stays safe and have a great summer. It's kind of what we're looking for. And be at the 4th of July. The 4th of July fireworks show, if all possible.
I look forward to seeing you there for sure.
And I cannot believe the time has gone the quick as it did. But it's great having you on the show, Natasha. I really appreciate you participating. I know the chamber has always somewhat sponsored and hosted this show for me. I think this is the 25th or 26th show, so we've had quite a few of them. And you guys are really, I really appreciate the chamber doing that for us. And thank you for participating tonight.
Well, thank you, Mayor. We appreciate you, and hopefully we'll have 25 more shows.
Thank you. Well, we'll see how it works out, but thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, you all have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Thanks. And everybody, see you soon. See you in a month. Thank you.